Jy luister na Isak Du Plessis op Nuuspod.
Good day, welcome to Nuuspod, and although we are on Afrikaans channel, sometimes you have to do it in English, and in my case, my best Free State English, because I'm speaking to Chris Pappas, by now the well-known mayor of the Umgeni municipality. Thank you so much for making time for us, Chris. Welcome to Nuuspod.
Thank you very much for having me. And your best Free State English is perfect.
Thank you very much. You have to do it with self-confidence. then some of the people don't gather how many mistakes you make. Chris, the public spat between you and the KwaZulu-Natal ANC government is picking up a pace, as News 24 is reporting on it, especially after you and the DA made known your aspirations to become the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, and Suboniso Duma and his cronies are bringing all sorts of allegations against you. If I may, let's start with that, and then we can go over to the aspirations for being Premier. But it looks like they are not giving up easily on the allegations, and they want to go further with this.
Yeah, so I think let me start with the challenge. I welcome it. It's fantastic. It's lovely. I'm glad that I've rattled their cage. I'm glad that they're upset, that they're scared. For many years they would point at me across the aisle and say, "You small white boy, you'll never do anything." And now I've rattled their cage so much that they have to mobilize against the small white boy. So fantastic. I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep pushing for the next 7 months and make them upset. But to answer your question, so yeah, I'm not worried about the allegations. I know that they're completely untrue. The whole storyline is wrong. I mean, I can take you through it. The company that they claim that was that benefited was only registered in August 2023. So their timelines are already completely out. I unfortunately broke up with my fiance 7 or 8 months ago. So that is also, not true. Declarations. I made declarations to the speaker and to the municipal manager on multiple occasions in the municipality. The number that they're claiming, 100,000 rand, doesn't exist. There was never a transfer of 100,000 rand made to this community organization. And besides that, we support many organizations for different things. Umgeni Tourism is one tourism organization. There are 3, and we've supported all 3 of them with exactly the same allocation of 50,000 rand for different community-based events. And we've supported other people too. There was a SAMA award-winning group who wanted to showcase their music. We supported them, NGOs that do other work. So it really is just a smear campaign. And the way that you know that is the timing. This information was all available a couple of months ago. In fact, we had journalists in our council meeting and in our executive committee meeting to be able to record this. And that was journalists from The Witness and from our local freebie newspaper, and that's the Village Talk. And they covered it, and it was 3rd or 4th page, and it was passing, and I recused myself from those meetings because they were there, they saw the documents, they saw the conversations, and there wasn't anything to it. So the timing of this is questionable, but also where it comes from. No one can give me a source. No one can point to any particular individual or any document or anything that is being used. There's a Facebook page that is nameless and faceless that is spreading information, and that's the danger of fake news. I have to answer. That's the job that I've chosen is politics, and I must answer when I'm asked questions. But it is, it becomes unfair when you get asked questions based on absolutely no evidence. There's not one shred of evidence that's been produced. It's not pala where there's actually money in a couch.
Well done.
You see how I did that there? I just slotted it in quickly.
Yeah, that was very smooth. I see News 24 has got a fact-checked article here, and they make mention of the fact that you recused yourself, and you say that was recorded as well, officially.
Yes, yeah. I mean, there's a file here in front of me. I haven't actually received any communication from the public protector, so I took the liberty of putting a file together myself with all the actual facts, because what I don't want to do is, have a conversation like this with you and then chop and change what the story that I'm telling you as it evolves. So put a file together, got all the documents, and I took Netwerk 24 through the actual documents. I sat there with the journalist, and as I was speaking, I sent him pictures, so that he could write a credible story without having to just take my word for it.
Where to with this now? Because as you say, although it is very uncomfortable and unfair, you have to handle it, especially in a country like this one, where we are at this moment of time.
So, like I said, I mean, they've gone to I think it was the public protector. Usually the public protector investigates things if you provide them with evidence or something that they can use then to start an investigation. It doesn't have to be the full documents. To date, I haven't received anything from the public protector. So it would be great if they did come across here, so that we can put the issue to bed. But also there's the Auditor General, who's busy doing our audited financials at the moment. So we'll see if they pick anything up. And then we can release those when those are ready. But as to ride out the storm, I'm sure there'll be other things that they'll cook up. I saw something the other day they cooked up. They said that we irregularly employed a pensioner, and they made up a whole long story about a lady that we've recently brought in to assist us. And it's very much the same sort of approach that Eskom has taken to bring back retired engineers. We've done the same with people in finance. On a temporary basis, using all the right legislation. We said, come back, help us, let's build some capacity in our municipality on a 6-month period, and then you can go out. So they cook up all these things, and it's just something that we have to deal with. But I think the important thing for the campaign is that I don't play on their terms. So I haven't engaged in a mudslinging competition or tried to be the bigger bearer of fake news out there. I just continue with my campaign. My work in the municipality speaks for itself. My legacy, where I've been in government, speaks for itself. And I think the organization that I represent as well in government, our track record in government also speaks for ourselves. So we're not playing on the same field as them. We're trying to be bigger and better than what they're doing. And I'm excited. They say any publicity is good publicity. Yeah. So I go through social media and I see people who possibly would have never voted for me in far-flung parts of the province coming to my defense. Last night I was getting messages from people in townships in the municipality next door to say that they were driving around with loud hailers calling people out. And here's people recording who have gone out and found my number and are sending me to say, look what these rubbishers are doing. And they are here in our township as well. Don't worry, we've got your back. And that's incredible. It makes it such a good feeling. So it puts all that pressure and all the negative things, when people come out and do that.
You mentioned the 100,000 rand that it doesn't exist. Just take us through the figures that's according to you the correct figures.
Sure. So what the 100,000 rand is that we give each community tourism organization 10,000 rand a month, and that's something that predates me. They're called community tourism organizations. I think there's a whole white paper on them, and we support them to do the work that they do. We've got Zulu Mpopomeni Tourism, we've got Umgeni Tourism, and we've got Notties Tourism, and they do marketing and events and things like that in their communities to get tourists to come. Our contribution is 10,000 rand a month. However, what we found, and this was motivated by the portfolio committee, was that Zulu Mpopomeni Tourism deals with a very small area. Nottingham Road Tourism deals with a very small area. But Umgeni Tourism deals with the whole municipality. So the motivation came across to say, considering that we deal with the whole municipality as opposed to small geographic areas, could we consider increasing their annual allocation by 100,000 rand? So that 100,000 rand is split up over 12 months. It's not a once-off allocation. And the council approved that based on the extent of their work, the bigger workload that they do, and the more events and things that they do. And there was no once-off 100,000 rand payment. The agreement at a council level after committees was that would be broken up into 12 months, and that they wouldn't get the rest of the money for the rest of the year. In other words, the decision was taken in December. The first payment was only in February or March. So the allocation for Umgeni tourism went from 10,000 Rand to, I think it was around 26,000 Rand for the remainder of the financial year. And that's about 3 or 4 months. So there was no payment of 100,000 Rand. In December 2022, there was a payment to Umgeni tourism on the 12th of the 12th of 50,000 Rand. And that 50,000 Rand was an allocation towards the Light Up Umgeni festival. And there were many other sponsors. There was the provincial government. There were a couple of big businesses in the area. There were other smaller sponsors. So it was a big event that they had. We were one of the smaller contributors. But that is, we've been consistent in supporting others with the same. Human Rights Day, we supported Zulu and Bohumeni tourism with 50,000 Rand. Nottingham Road tourism, I think it was either 25 or 50,000 Rand for the Harvest Moon Festival. MC Records, which is a SAMA winning, a group from Umgeni, asked us to support them with 50,000 Rand to host their first local event, which we turned into a business development initiative for them, where we helped them through that. So it's not the first time. A lot of businesses, we support local little businesses here with between 10 and 25,000 Rand with equipment. We've held local NGOs. There's what are these guys called? There's Funda Ninja, who does therapeutic things with dogs in the townships. There's Angels Care, who does things with orphan children. We've supported all these guys with different amounts of money. So it's not new that we do that. And this 100,000 Rand that they speak of, that was a once-off payment, that doesn't exist.
The timing, as you've said, is curious. That ANC have never before went through such trouble to discredit someone. Does this say something about the position they are in KwaZulu-Natal at the moment?
Absolutely. I'm not sure if you saw the Social Research Foundation. I think it was last week released some of their latest polling. And what they've said is that if we had to go to election now, the EFF and the ANC would get a combined 46% plus minus. The DA and the IFP coalition would get 44%. So there's a 2% difference between what's been called the coalition of hope and the coalition of destruction. And I think that scares them, because KwaZulu-Natal is a big economy, it's a big province, it's a big budget, and it has a lot of influence over South African politics. And they will we've seen it in the past, they kill each other internally. So they will do anything and everything to try and discredit. When the IFP releases whoever their premier candidate is, and when they start their campaign, I'm sure you'll see equal things that will come towards them. But I think it's a sign of desperation as people start to lose power, and we just have to tackle that head on.
Going onwards from here, the possibility that you might become premier, giving the history of KwaZulu-Natal, the political history with the violence, political murders, and you experienced some of it now in Umgeni. What are the risks? Are you letting yourself in to a lion's cage?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, can't run away from that. The political killings, the culture of violence and intimidation in this province, I think, is well known. Sometimes that's spilled over into the streets. We had the riots here, and we often have different types of protests. But that's the nature of the game. It's like that's what we've got to deal with. It's not, doesn't mean it's right. Hopefully, in the next 30 years of our democracy, that will fall away. But we have to confront the beast that's in front of us, tackle it, and try and solve the problems. If we don't, then who else is going to do it? So I'm up for the challenge. It's going to be risky. It'll be scary at times, but we have to be able to tackle it head on.
Chris Pappas, Mayor of Umgeni Municipality, thank you very much for making time for us. All the best.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
Jy luister na Isak Du Plessis op Nuuspod.